Hello and welcome back everyone. Thaddeus here. Okay, in this video I'm going to go ahead and show you how I set up my server. This server you can run on any Windows machine, or you can port it over to Linux or any other operating system you have that will run the server jar file. So let me go ahead and show you how I go through this process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that Forge installer that we downloaded previously while we were setting up our client. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to go ahead and open that up with Java. And here we're going to tell it to install the client. So it's telling us that files already exist. So at this point we need to go ahead and tell it where we want to install the server. So I went ahead and I set up a little server folder here on my desktop. And what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and it's going to download the Minecraft server jar for the version of Minecraft that the Forge is for, in this case 1.6.4. Okay, it's going to download the libraries, it's going to download the Minecraft server jar, and then it's going to download its own Forge server file. So as soon as this is done, then we'll go ahead and we'll get started with setting up the server. Now you notice that there is no executable file here other than the jar file, so it doesn't work quite the same as using the regular client launcher. It's not a big deal. One of the things that I normally end up doing is I create a batch file for myself so that I can go ahead and set this up pretty quickly and easily. Now, I'll show you what that batch file looks like here in just a minute. If you read the forums about how to set up your server, they'll talk about setting up a batch file. So here I've already actually created the batch file. I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the editor so you can see it. So basically all it is it tells it to start Java, and I've put in how much memory, 2 gigs as the max and 1 as the minimum to start it, and then what the actual file name is. And then what I do is I put a little pause at the end of it. That is a batch command, so that when you close down the server, it will leave a DOS box open, and that way if you need to do any troubleshooting or debugging, you'll have some extra information there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and launch this batch file, which is going to go ahead and open up our server here. And here comes our server. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll maximize it here so you can see. Now here it's saying file not found. That's the ops list and the whitelist for the server. Since it didn't find it, it's going to go ahead and create those for us. So as you can see here, in 5.568 seconds, it's already created the server. So at this point, we're going to give it the stop command, and that forces it to save and then close down. And you'll see here our pause, just hit any key and it closes. The any key you can just use the space bar for. That's a joke. Okay, so as you can see here now, we've got our mods folder, the world, which is the game save, our configuration folder, we've got our jar files and our batch file, and here we have the ops list and the whitelist. So at this point we're going to go and we're going to start adding mods. So we just go into our mods folder here, and this is the client folder right here for what we just made in the last episode, well, the last video. So these are all the exact same files. There are a couple of these that do not run on the server side. You need to be aware of that because it will cause an error. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll throw one of those in there so that you can see what happens. It's not a big deal. You just need to kind of know which ones may or may not cause an issue with that. So again, we're going to start with the same ones that we did last time. One thing that I am going to let you know here is that if you drag these over just with the left mouse button, it's automatically a move. You've got two options. You can hold down the control key and it'll automatically be a copy. The other option is to hold down the right mouse button. Where's not enough items? If we hold down the right mouse button, it still says move, but once we let go, it'll give us the option to copy. Okay, so at this point we're going to go ahead and grab a couple more here, just like we did last time. Now, damage indicators does not need to be on the server. My understanding is that it can be, but it does not need to be. So that one I'm not going to drag over. So let's go ahead and start with the ones that we know we really want. I'm just going to use the control key here. So there's our Ars Magica. And let's see, let's bring over our Ender storage. Oh, and I just, oops, cancel that. I was holding the control key when I selected Ender storage, which kept the Ars Magica 2 selected. So it just said, hey, that already exists. Okay, so let's make sure we don't hold that until we actually do our copy. So let's go ahead and grab, let's do extra utilities, control, inventory tweaks, I believe, is client side only. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll drag that one in and we'll see. I'm pretty sure that one is. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a couple more here. Let's go with Natura. MapWriter I know is client side. Excuse me. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our Tinker's Construct. Let's grab our Thaumcraft, Thaumic Tinkerer, and our Tinker's Mechworks. Okay, and at this point, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to relaunch the batch file to launch the server, and let's see if we get any errors with this. Okay, as you can see here, we did not have any errors since the world was already created. It takes a lot less time. Computercraft not found, so I believe that's Thaumcraft or Thaumic Tinkerer that does a check for that. So, okay, so that's done. So we're going to give it the stop command again. And now we're going to keep adding mods. So I'm just going to go ahead and start here at the top. We've got Ars Magica. Let's go ahead and grab several of these at a time here. Not Better Dungeons, that's one of the last ones that I'm going to do. So again, we're going to copy those in. Got, let's see, Dungeon Pack, Ender Storage. Oh, we've already got that one, so we'll do extra biomes, extra utilities. So we'll go and copy those over. And looks like I already put extra utilities in there. Not a big deal. It'll tell me if I've already got one of those in there. Okay, let's go with... Okay, we're going to copy Ruins in, but for that one we also need the resources folder. So we're just going to come up here, we're going to drag that over and copy that in. Let's see, what else do we need? Okay, I already did Ancient Warfare. Now this one here, the Ancient Warfare NEI plugin, I know that one's going to throw an error. And that's because I've done the setup before. So I'm just going to show you what happens here when we launch it. Okay, boom, there's our error. And that's because that plugin is a client side only. And if you look here, you can see Ancient Warfare NEI plugin is mentioned. There's some other stuff in here that's mentioned, but that's the main thing that we need to notice. So here we're just going to close it. And then we're going to go back into our mods, and we're just going to take this plugin, and we're just going to delete it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We've got barrels, Better Dungeons. You know what, let's just go ahead and throw that one in right now. Just remember that we also need the chocolate folder to go into the root of our server here. Okay, so back into the mods folder. So now we can just kind of go down the list here. Okay. Better Dungeons. No damage indicators. Dungeon Pack. Ender Storage. Extra biomes. Extra utilities. Inventory tweaks. Natura. So we need Iron Chest. Okay, MapWriter does not go. Natura. NEI plugins. This one does go in. I do believe. It didn't used to because I think it was a core mod but now it does. So let's go ahead and go with our nether ores. In order for that one to work, we also need Power Crystals core, so you need to make sure that all your dependencies are in there or it's not going to load. So we've got quite a few in there right now, so let's go ahead and launch it with our batch file. Okay, that one's done. Over here you can see the memory usage. It's pretty low because we don't have anything going on really, so it hasn't grabbed that much memory. Okay, so we can go ahead and give it the stop command again. Okay, and back into the mods folder, and let's find out where we're at. So I know we got two nether ores, not enough items, open blocks we need to put over there. So we're just going to copy that one in. Power Crystals Railcraft we need to put in there. It's already created the ruins files that we need. Special mobs needs to go in. And I think that one's it. Did we already get the update checker? No, we did not. So let's go ahead and make sure we get the update checker in there. So at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and check, and we've got 29 items here. So once we launch Railcraft, it should create the Railcraft folder. Okay, here we go. Okay, the world's created. So we're going to go ahead and stop the server again, and then we're just going to go ahead and make sure that we've got all the mods that we need. So did this one not create a Railcraft folder for the server? I would have thought that it would have. Maybe it doesn't create one for the server. Okay, so let's just go ahead and double check. Ars Magica, Ancient Warfare, Barrels, Better Dungeons, Code Chicken Core, Dungeon Pack, Ender Storage, Extra Biomes, Extra Utilities, Inventory Tweaks, Iron Chest, Natura, NEI Plugins, Nether Ores, Not Enough Items, Open Blocks, Power Crystals Core, Railcraft, Ruins. Okay, then we've got Special Mobs, Tinker's Construct, Thaumcraft 4, Thaumic Tinkerer, Tinker's Mechworks, and the Update Checker. So according to that, everything's in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and launch the server, and we're going to try and connect to it. So I've got 8 gigs of RAM on this machine, so I can go ahead and do both. So let me go ahead and just wait for this to start up. Okay, server's up. So now I'm going to go ahead and launch my Minecraft. And I just need to make sure that I use the right client. Season 2. We're going to hit play. And hopefully this doesn't get laggy at all because I'm recording at the same time. It worked okay yesterday, so I'm not too worried about it. Client definitely takes longer to load up. Okay, here we go. I'm going to maximize. Let's hit multiplayer, and I'm going to add a server. And from here, I'm going to put in my own IP address. And there's the server. Let's go in. Okay, there we are. We are running on the server. So you can see that this is different than where I was on the client. On the client, I spawned inside of a village, and here, no village. So it is taking a minute to generate the terrain. We are in a taiga biome. Last time I was in a redwood forest. So I can run around, I can play a little bit. I have not opt myself, so I am not in creative. Do I get, yep, getting wood. Yay, I've got wood. Okay, so that concludes the, that concludes the server creation process as far as this goes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show how I put it onto my server PC. If you're not interested in the next part, you can go ahead and end the video and bring up my server because it's still running. So we're going to stop that. Okay, and you can see there was some memory usage there if you were monitoring. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we need this folder right here. This is our server. So everything in here, other than the batch file, I'm going to be transferring over to my Linux machine. Let me go ahead and show you the interface for it. I run MineOS, which is developed by William Dyson. He has put significant time and effort into creating a very, very small memory footprint Linux distribution for turnkey. If you're interested in using it, you can go ahead and go to his website right here. If we go to, let's see, here we are. Is that the one I wanted? Nope, that's not the one I wanted. It is MineOS official website. There we go. So here you can read all the information on what it is, how it works, why he did it, how he did it. He's got some tutorials. He's got a 32-bit and 64-bit versions, so you can run it on either. The work he's done is great. So at this point here, this is what the administrator panel looks like here when you connect to it. So as you can see here, what he already has in it is Bukkit, Bukkit Beta, the Bukkit Dev. I haven't used those, so you'll see that it says not found. This here is the one that I used for Season 1 for the Ancient Warfare, and I just named it Fraps. Other ones that I've created here and here and here. It came with its own vanilla, which just finds the most recent, and then I created one for vanilla 1.6.2 back when that was new. So at this point here, what we need to do is we need to go and create a new profile. And when we do this, we have to give it a profile name. So this one here, we're going to call it Season 02. And it's the profile is going to use a server enclosed in a jar. And as far as the URL, that one I'm going to have to modify. But as far as the runnable server jar, what we're going to need for that is the name for, not that one, this one right here. This is the default server jar. So we're just going to copy the name here, and then we're going to paste it into here. And let's see, I may need to check what my other URL resource looks like on my other profile here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a profile, and then I'm going to go back to the overview here, and you're going to see that it just showed up right here, and it says it's not found. Well, that's because we're going to have to tell it where to find it. Now, if I go in, you can't modify these directly. What you would have to do is create a new one. Let's see. So we'll go and we'll walk through this. So right now what I need to do is I need to start getting the files. Oh, okay. It looks like I can use the jar file here for the Forge. So let me go and actually grab that file name. So if I grab that name, and then so we're going to go in and modify. So it's the last one here, so it's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that, and then we're going to create the file or the profile, and now it's been changed. So the next thing we need to do is get these files over onto our server. In order to do that, I use an FTP program called Coffee Cup. It's free, and And what this allows me to do is it lets me go in and oops, no, I don't want to create a new one. Let's go to, I need to get to my desktop. So on the left side is where you're going to get the files from, and it's taking a moment here. It has been a while since I've set one of these up, so if it takes me a minute, just, be patient, please. Okay, and for some reason it does not want to respond. Okay, there we go. So we're going to our Season 2 server. This is all the files that we're using, and then this here is on the server. So you see it says MineOS2. That's the name of the server for me. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go into the location where the server files are stored. Let's see, from here we need to go into the USR, go into the games, go into Minecraft, and you'll see the different profile names that I've created previously. So if we go into here into the Fraps, you'll see the only thing in there is that jar file. That's all it needs in this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call it Season 02 because that was the name of our profile. Then we're going to go into there. Then we're going to grab this Minecraft Forge file. We're going to drag it over, and it's now copied in. Now if we go back into our MineOS admin panel, we'll see that this just turned green. That's because it now knows that that file is there. So the next thing we need to do is we need to actually create a new server. So when we do this, we're going to use the same name as the profile. Here we can specify the port we want to use, maximum number of players. I normally set mine at 5. It doesn't matter. You can set it to whatever you want, however many people you're going to have connecting. Okay, the amount of memory that I want it to use, well, I'm going to want it to use 2048. That's 2 gigs of RAM. Now I have to tell it what profile I want to use, and we're going to use the Season 2 profile. Now here on the cron tabs, this is how often you want it to back up. If you tell it to archive, then it's going to save all of your server files, hourly, daily, or weekly. Okay, weekly is probably enough. If you do it hourly, you're going to fill up your hard drive on your server really quick. Daily would be okay if you go in and do your management and delete the old archives regularly. Since I normally shut my server down when I'm done playing because I'm actually playing in a single player instance most of the time, weekly is fine. Okay, how often do I want it to back up? Well, I want it to back up regularly. All that does is incremental backups. And that way, if something happens and my world gets damaged, I can go ahead and I can restore. I do not want my server to start on boot because I may want to actually load up a different server by the profile. And in here, you can give it a level name. Well, the default is world. If you wanted to put in a seed, you can put in a seed here. Okay. Your difficulty, we're either going to start it on normal or hard. I can go ahead and change it at any time. Because of all the mods we've got installed with all the extra stuff, I'm going to start it on normal and then probably upgrade it to hard at a later date. So in here, level type is just going to be default. If you were going to use Biomes of Plenty, I think it would show up there. If not, then you'd have to go in and manually configure that. Okay, we want it to generate structures, and now we want to go ahead and create our server. So we've successfully created a new server. From here, we want to go to our server status. Now on here, you can see all the different servers that I've created. Okay, most of them are based off of the profiles here. So when we're looking at our server status, here's our Season 2. We can see that it's currently down, and there are no players online, of course, because it's down, and the maximum memory. Because I don't have, 50, 60, or 70 mods installed, I don't think I need the 3 gigs of RAM, but I could bump it up to that if I wanted. I've got 4 gigs on my server. On these others here, I've I've never maxed out my my RAM. So I'm going to go ahead and start a server. Now this is going to be pretty much just like what we did previously. When we were creating the server, we're going to run it once and go ahead and let it get itself set up. Basically what it's going to do is it's just going to create the folder for us because we don't have anything else in that folder. So here if we refresh and go into our server status, it's still down. And that's because we don't actually have any files for the server to run. So at this point we're going to go back into our coffee cup and or whatever FTP program you want to use. And now we need to go up to, we're going to go up to the root directory here, and we need to go into the home directory. From here we've got an MC for Minecraft, and then we've got servers. Here's where it stores your archives and your backups, snapshots if you are importing a server. So we're going to go in here into our servers. Now here's our Season 2 folder. What's in it? Pretty much nothing. Okay, what we have is a plugins folder if you are going to be running you know, some bucket plugins or something. And then we've got this jar file. Well, this is just the Forge jar. It's not Minecraft. So what we need to do is we need to go into our server files and actually copy those in. Okay, so we can go ahead and just drag them over. We know we need the chocolate folder for the mods. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the config because there's no reason to generate new default configs. We've already been through this process and we know that everything works. Okay, you can see down here your status as you're copying. We don't need crash reports. Shouldn't be anything, well, yeah, okay, let's go ahead and take our libraries. Okay, we could take the world if we wanted to, or we can just let it create a new one. Okay, so next we're going to copy over our mods. This is what's going to take the longest. But since we already did all of our configuration, everything we need is already there. Okay, so we also need to make sure we take the Minecraft server jar. Otherwise, this Minecraft Forge jar doesn't have anything to do because it's going to look for the Minecraft server jar. Okay, let's see. So it says it's waiting. So looks like it's still copying over the mods. And then this one here is queued up. So as soon as it's done with that, it'll copy over that. It'll copy over. Okay, complete. So we can close that. And now we see our server jar. I'm going to go ahead and hit refresh here. Now, since I didn't set up a whitelist and I didn't set up any ops, we don't need to carry that over. Banned players or IPs, we don't need any of that. So at this point here, our server should be ready to start. If you want, you can go in and double check your mods folder. But at this point, let's go back to our MineOS and let's go ahead and start our server for Season 2. At this point, we should see a deny show up here in the status. At this point here, it'll show us how much memory it's using, and when it's done creating the world, then it'll show it as being online. Now, from here, we can go and check our system health. This will show us how much data is being used on it, how big your partition is for your data, how much you've used and how much you have free. Next, we're going to go into the server console. From here, we can select our server, which is Season 2, and I want it to do a live update and do a reverse feed. That way it'll show me the most recent first rather than the oldest first. So at this point here, it is starting up our server. Let's go back here and check this. It's up to 900 megs of RAM. And as soon as this thing says that it is ready, then we can log in and play. Okay, let's go double check our server console again here. So it'll update. Sometimes it's a little bit slow on the updates, especially if you just started it. I have noticed that in 1.6.4 it's a little bit slower on updating the console. Let's go back into here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh with an F5. Now, if we have a problem, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to determine when we're looking, because it does take a little bit of time to get it set up, especially since this is the first time. Okay, now it says that we're up. Let's go into our server console again. And we're going to hit Season 2. It'll take a moment here while it's polling the server. There we go. So you can see it created the spawn. That was one of the things that took the longest time, was because we didn't copy in an existing world. If you had an existing world, you could have put that in. So at this point here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can issue commands straight from here, and I can op myself. And the reason why I want to do that is so that if something breaks in the game and I need to do something as an op, I can do that. So at this point, the server's up and running. So I am going to launch Minecraft with our Season 2 profile. And once this comes up, I just need to create a new server. Let me maximize multiplayer. This one's no longer active because that's the one on my own PC. So I'm going to add a server, and we're going to go ahead and call this one Season 2 and put in its local IP address. And here we can see that it's up and running. Let's go ahead and connect. Now, when I actually start the season next time, ooh, nice, I'm going to actually create a new world. So I am opt, but I'm not in creative. So, ooh, wow, I see 3 floating ruined castles. I see 2 ships, a sunken ship, another, wow. So it looks like I'm probably going to have to adjust the ruins spawn rate. Let me go ahead and go into NEI here. And I believe it started me in cheat mode, so I can just go ahead and go to creative. And now I can fly around. Yeah, this just looks like too many resources at spawn. Oh my goodness, there's another floating castle? Huh, I've never seen a balloon in the water. Another floating castle? Okay, this is just crazy. There's no way I could start playing a season on this world. There is just too much stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and adjust the config file for ruins in particular and tell it not to make quite so many. This is pretty crazy. Just too many. And you know what? One thing I want to check is that that Railcraft, because it did not create that folder. Let me go ahead and let me go into Creative Plus here. Okay, Railcraft is there and working. Is that another castle? Yeah. Okay, so this world here is just like, wow. If I were playing this on a server with a bunch of people, this would be a great world, because everyone could grab their own floating castle or their own ship. What is that down there? Something is dying. Why is there a squid? Well, it's not dying, but it says it's taking damage. Okay, that's just weird. It's like it's drowning or something. I'm going to kill it. Get out of here. Goodbye. Okay, that was just totally weird. Alright guys, so that is how I make my server. If you guys are interested in setting up your own server, I highly suggest you check out MineOS. There is a little bit of a learning curve. This is the easiest setup I've had for it so far. It does take a little bit of getting used to learn how it works. Yeah, this is kind of cool. But it uses very, very little memory. Seriously, it uses about, well, less than 200 megs of RAM. Okay, so for the whole thing, oh, wow. That must be Better Dungeons, because that looks like a knight. Okay, this is going to be so cool. All right, so I'm going to have to disconnect now, and we're going to go ahead and start up Season 2 here very, very shortly. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you found this helpful.